UBS loan report tabled in Parliament. Treasurer says revenue collections low. And EMTV to broadcast some more games.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Wednesday's news. We begin in Parliament, and the Ombudsman Commission's final report into the $1.2 billion UBS loan was tabled in Parliament today. Prime Minister James Marape then announced a commission of inquiry into the UBS loan borrowed by the PNG government in 2014 from the Swiss bank.
The 279 pages report produced by the Ombudsman Commission outlines in chronological order steps taken by the then PNG government in obtaining the UBS loan. OC initiated the report based on allegations of improper borrowing of this 3 billion kina loan from the Swiss bank for the purpose of purchasing shares from Oil Search Limited. The report named members of parliament, including 2 departmental secretaries, who were implicated in the borrowing of the UBS loan. They include current Prime Minister James Marape, listed as then Finance Minister, Peter O'Neill as Prime Minister, and Isaac Lupari as Chief Secretary then. The report had 13 recommendations that include the referral of both O'Neill and Marape to the Leadership Division of Ombudsman Commission for further investigation. The conclusion of the report states that the Ombudsman Commission has observed that the leaders and persons named in the report have failed to comply with proper processes in obtaining the 1.2 billion Australian dollar loan. Prime Minister James Marape in Parliament today says a commission of inquiry will be established to validate facts published in this report. This is because the Ombudsman Commission only investigates those who hold leadership roles. Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has welcomed the inquiry and said he will be the first Member of Parliament to testify in the inquiry. He told Parliament today the decision to acquire the loan was because of an earlier IPIC loan taken by the Somare-led government to buy shares with Oil Search Limited. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Decisions by Prime Minister James Marape not to renew the license of an Australian-owned security company operating on Manus Island has been welcomed by Vanimo Green MP Belden Nama. Nama asked Prime Minister Marape to inform Parliament on steps his government will take to execute a court order of 2016 that called for the closure of the Manus Detention Centre.
Nama was the opposition leader in 2013 when he first filed a Supreme Court application to review the establishment of the Manus Detention Centre, a legal battle that was debated for over 3 years.
Prime Minister, I highly commend you for the decision you made to cancel the contract of a foreign security company, Paladin Limited, to Manus Island Asylum Center. Mr. Prime Minister, in 2013, when I was the opposition leader, I actually commenced a court proceedings against the state on the Manus Asylum Seeker Center.
The now closed Manus Regional Processing Centre was established through a Memorandum of Agreement between the O'Neill-led PNG government and Julia Gillard-led Australian government in November 2012. Between 2013 and 2015, thousands of men seeking asylum were processed at the detention centre. In 2016, the Supreme Court in Waigani ordered its closure because it found the centre was established unconstitutionally.
It's a 5-man Supreme Court decision that ruled unanimously for immediate closure of Manu Asylum Seekers Center. Mr. Prime Minister, I now ask you, what are you going to do as the Prime Minister of this country on this illegal and unconstitutional center in Manus Island? Because even the Paladin security contract is related to the Manus Island Asylum Seekers Center. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister.
This of further arrangements by the Australian government to relocate the accommodation site of these refugees and asylum seekers to 2 different locations in Manus. The court order is still active and is in place, and now with the change in the Prime Minister, Vanimo Green River MP Belden Nama wants to know the steps this government will take to comply with the court order. Prime Minister Marape responded with a promise to give a proper response next Tuesday after he gets a brief on where the PNG government stands with the arrangement. But he told Parliament the new government will not dishonor orders issued by the Supreme Court.
Little I know of has been that the previous government, led by previous Prime Minister and previous Foreign Minister, has responded in the affirmative, in the positive to the court order that was made, and some steps were taken to ensure that we respond appropriately to the court orders. Let us be also mindful that we have a bilateral relationship, and a very important one in this instance, to Australia and PNG. The circumstances pertaining to the 2 foreign ministers signing the MOU in 2013, 2014 had its moments of usefulness and reciprocal relationship that both PNG and Australia promised to attend to and respond to. But as found by Supreme Court, to the highest order given for us to close down Manus, our government will stand not to resist that order. I will take a week to get into ascertaining exactly where we are in response to that court order, and this time next week I pledge to report back to this Parliament as to what has happened. If no action has taken place in respect to the court orders, we will ensure that correct corresponding executive directions are given to match the court order.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more of the day's stories when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Treasurer Sam Basil today provided an update on the country's economic position. In delivering the January to May 2019 fiscal position report, the Treasurer highlighted revenue and expenditure in the first 5 months of this year and also outlined some measures to be taken by government to stimulate more positive growth within the country's economy. When Parliament resumed on Tuesday, among the questions raised were those directed to the Treasurer, urging him to provide a State of the Economy report to Parliament. The questions were again raised when Parliament resumed just after 10 a.m. this morning. Following the conclusion of question time, Treasurer Sam Basil was given the opportunity to deliver his statement on the fiscal position of PNG's economy for the period January to May 2019.
Once again, I say that the responsibilities was an oversight, and it is being fixed, and we are on it.
This report, tabled just a few weeks before the Bank of PNG, is expected to provide the official mid-year economic fiscal outlook. In terms of revenue, the Treasurer revealed lower than expected collections from the Internal Revenue Commission for the first 5 months of the year, with reasons provided for the shortfall in projected revenue. Expenditure, however, continued to be higher than expected, with public sector personnel emoluments again representing a large portion of public expenditure. In light of these figures, the Treasurer reassured Parliament that the government would be taking steps to improve these figures through a collaborative approach. Among immediate measures, a series of private sector policy initiatives to stimulate further growth in PNG's economy. Leaders of Western Province want the national government to unlock monetary benefits held in trust accounts for development purposes. Western Governor Taboy Iyoto says past leaders did not work for the common good of the people. Governor Iyoto and other Western MPs expressed similar concerns when presenting the 5-year provincial development plan to Prime Minister James Marape in Kiunga recently.
This was the first official visit by Prime Minister James Marape to Western Province, a province playing host to a significant mining operation, the Oktedi mining. But local leaders say benefits mounting in millions, which rightfully is for development plan, has never transpired in services for the people.
Plenty money play Mr. Kind can have. Na success government in Australia good luck allowing me blocks in plenty something blow me. Now we want to make it happen this way. Plenty money play me sit down long offshore, plenty sit down inside. Yet we couldn't have access to what we need to do.
Over 3 billion in benefits derived from the mining is being parked both on and offshore accounts. One factor having a detrimental concern is leadership for Western Province. Governor Thabo Yoto says leaders have realized these and now want to work together and help the national government to unlock rightful benefits.
It's a big hope that we have given to our people, and we will stand together united to support, to see that vision materialize in the next 10 years.
For the Prime Minister, he says the focus of the new government is to move away from the corridors of Waigani. PM Marape reiterated that the national government is taking back PNG, meaning people must be part of tangible developments. He says benefits of Western people will be released.
We look forward on behalf of government and people of Papua New Guinea, giving back what is due to Western Province, and together we can make Western Province what it should be, as it has never happened in the past.
The Western Provincial Development Plan is for 2018 to 2022. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Still in Kiunga, the Western Provincial Government presented 3.5 million kina for the Kiunga to Como Highway. This road will link the people of Western and Hela, two provinces hosting the Oktedi mine and the PNG LNG project. Western Governor Thabo Yoto says the road is extremely important with huge social and economic benefits. The support funding was presented to contractor Kana Construction Limited.
We've been trying our best to build it. The road has reached Kiunga and go finish or Como finish. What that diwai him. It's just to see if we can put him gravel na go. We can't wait for the big thing to fall from sky. We have to start something somewhere little. Slowly we'll get there.
To Jiwaka now, and the province's polio vaccination campaign is on track. Deputy Health Director Sister Kolibang is pleased with the support from government, church health services and donor partners, including the World Health Organization, in bringing health service delivery to the people. Vasi Natayama files this report.
Jiwaka, being a newly established province, has a long way to catch up in delivering basic healthcare services for the estimated population of 200,000. But this does not also mean that other establishing provinces in PNG are well ahead in receiving basic healthcare services. Since August last year, when the country declared polio outbreak an emergency, the Jiwaka Provincial Health Team has been leading, providing awareness and vaccination to children below the age of 5.
Unprotected child coming into our province, so we will continue to monitor, but so far we have done well.
After 2 cases were detected in Jiwaka, they tightened their civilians program led by the National Health Department, WHO, UNICEF and Church Health Services, which saw a successful vaccination of 95% of children. In this month's 6th round of nationwide campaign, WHO Country Director visited the 7 Highlands provinces to see if facilities are implementing these funded campaigns of getting polio vaccine, rubella and measles injection.
Call for all parents and caretakers, please bring all children under 5 years old to go to a vaccination place to do vaccination, and all children from 6 months to 5 years old should be vaccinated with measles, rubella.
Jiwaka has close to 6 flying zones which health officers visit for the immunization programs. Locals are walking for distances from between 6 to 8 hours, which is a challenge to fully vaccinate all the children in the province.
on very high alert mode, and we've been working both day and night to contain the situation and prevent spread.
Parents in Jiwaka have responded well in bringing their children to be immunized. It is important for children below the age of 5 to be immunized, as polio causes paralysis, while rubella can cause general inflammation and redness to children, which can also lead to death. Vasinatha Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Madang Electoral Office has recruited more than 1,000 temporary polling officers in the province to assist in the upcoming LLG elections. According to Assistant Election Manager and Returning Officer, this is due to the limited time frame given to conduct the LLG election, as well as the geographical landscape of the province. Justin Pantumari says they have resubmitted a new LLG election budget to the PNG Electoral Commission headquarters for more funding.
Madang Province has 451 wards with 19 LLGs within the 6 districts. According to Madang's returning officer, Justin Pantumari, nominations will commence on Thursday and ends on 4th July. Campaign will start on July 5th and ends on the 19th, and on the 20th July polling will commence and will end on the 25th July. Pantumari says because of the limited time given, Madang Electoral Office has decided to increase the number of polling teams to 468.
To poll at their respective ward level, but they're going to poll at their respective wards, but at their gazetted locations.
The Electoral Office will only be responsible for the office's allowances, administrative work and operations. Because the Electoral Office is facing financial constraint, security was not included in their budget plan. Pantumari says they have asked open members of the 6 districts for logistical support.
The Electoral Office in Madang are requesting, asking other open members to support their own districts in terms of logistics.
Pantumari added that they have sought advice from the Provincial Election Steering Committee, in which a meeting was held at 10 a.m. today. However, the new budget submission made will also cater for the additional polling officers who will be recruited. On a polling team, there will be 5 officers that includes the presiding officer and the assistant presiding officer. Despite the financial challenge, Madang is ready to conduct the LLG elections. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
To Moraba Province now, and Huonville Primary School is still using temporary classrooms to accommodate students due to a delay in funding for new classrooms. The Building Board, Health Department and PNG Fire Service condemned 6 classrooms last year after they were deemed structurally unsafe. The school has received some assistance from the district and provincial levels. However, they are yet to receive the rest of the promised funding.
This was the state of Huonville Primary School last year when the condemned classrooms were demolished. The school is currently using temporary classrooms built last year with the support from parents, businesses, the Moraba Governor and lay MP. These temporary classrooms, however, need to be replaced. Board Chairman Robin Kunai said lack of funding is hindering this process.
Have had a pledge from the member last year to build a 12-in-1 classroom at a cost of 1.2 million. As of today, we haven't heard anything out from the office as yet, but we understand that the political climate in the country has been going through what it has come through as the new Prime Minister and all the rest of the new ministers.
500,000 kina was also allocated for the school in the provincial budget last year. These funds have been approved but will be managed by the Provincial Works Division to construct new classrooms.
They will go through any proposals from contractors and with our input as well.
Huonville Primary School is one of Lay's biggest schools. The classrooms that were condemned were used since the school's establishment in the 1960s. More than 8,000 students were affected when the classrooms were demolished. Head teacher Willie Villakiva said despite that, the 2019 academic year commenced well.
The enrollment continued to increase. Normal classes has returned.
Newly appointed Parents and Teachers Association Chairman John Poroga said parents' support has dropped.
Parents may not realize, but if I get the full listing of those who, parents who have their outstandings, and we'll take it to them, sit with them, explain to them, they will understand. We are not only trying to bring in quantity, we're trying to deliver quality education as well.
Also an ex-student, Mr. Poroga plans to revive the school to its original state. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Lay.
3 weeks ago, more than 100 teachers from the Lay district in Morobe demanded an explanation from the province's program education advisor and appointment officer on why they were teaching without position numbers. The teachers were also put off the payroll for 6 fortnights. Last week, the program education advisor, Keith Jiram, returned with teaching position numbers for the teachers from the Education Department and the Teaching Services Commission.
The situation that we faced in the province in regard to...
When EMTV News in Lay met with the Program Advisor for Education almost 3 weeks ago, the PPA said the delay was with the Teachers Service Commission and the Education Department in Port Moresby for not approving the teachers' position numbers on time. Jiram returned from Port Moresby to Lay last week with the teachers' position numbers for 110 teachers of Lay District that was given by the Education Department and approved by the Teachers Service Commission. Jiram said they are now waiting for the appointment officer for the province, Paul Tayang, to verify the positions so the teachers can be put back on the payroll.
So the first part of the solution was done, and the second part of the solution is to have them input on the payroll. The third part is the time taken for the process to process their applications. So it's no longer an issue; it's already taken care of. It's just only appointment officer to come and verify these positions. As soon as they are verified, I will not hesitate to sign them and instruct the salary people to have them input in the payroll.
Almost 3 weeks ago, more than 100 teachers of Morobe, especially from Lay District, were frustrated for not being paid for 6 fortnights because they were not given their teaching position numbers. On the 11th of June, they gathered at the Provincial Education Office and demanded an explanation from the PPA for Education and the appointment officer for the delay.
If they need to go and get created positions in Port Moresby from the TSC, they need to do it fast and put us on the payroll. That's one. Number two, they need to check all the positions in the province, those that are not occupied, and give us those positions. The appointment officer has to check the DEM in its districts, check the inspectors in its districts to find out which positions are not occupied and are vacant there, or the schools that have been closed or demoted, the positions are vacant there. Check it out properly and give it to us.
EMTV News in Lay met with the Program Advisor for Education, Keith Jiram, and the Appointment Officer, Paul Tayang, on the same day and got their responses.
If only the Teaching Service Commission, if only the Department of Education, if only the responsible officers down with the Department of Education are able to do their work honestly, we wouldn't face this situation. And what we faced here, I'm not going to sift the bark, but I must honestly point out it's a nationwide issue.
Once teachers are off the payroll and they are not on the payroll, like now others are off the payroll for 6 fortnights, once their positions are sorted out, they will still be backdated to the auto-suspension period. They will still get the backdates.
The teachers without teaching positions include 7 teachers, teachers released from other schools and new graduates. According to Jiram, most teachers were teaching on borrowed positions.
Now we have the positions already registered. We're going to slot those teachers into those positions correctly belong to them, and we free up those positions, borrowed positions, and there those who are left over, we will slowly slot them into those positions, and there all our Morobe teachers are taken care of.
Julie Badui, Owa,
National EMTV News, Leh.
17 secondary schools in Morobe province will be part of an inter-school exhibition for 2 days. They will showcase work in the areas of science, arts and agriculture. Provincial Education Program Advisor Keith Jeram said this is a way to unite schools in Leh who hold a record for school fights. The exhibition is the first for the province and will also include some schools from rural areas. It starts tomorrow at the Sir Ignatius Kilage Stadium.
We want to bring all the students together. As you know, sometimes at certain level, the urban students feel they are a little bit much higher and better than the rural students. And this is still ongoing. So we want to provide an opportunity that the rural students, they come and participate with their urban students. They share the knowledge, they share the skills, they share the creativity skills that they learn in the rural schools.
National EMTV News will continue with more after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. The Waigani National Court has dismissed a case against PNG Christian Fellowship pastor Michael Jack due to lack of evidence. Justice Teresa Bergen discharged the accused from conspiracy to defraud and forgery. Michelle Stephen with the details.
With
Pastor Michael Jack, aged 44 of Koma Village in Mount Hagen, Western Islands Province, was arrested last year by detectives from the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate for forgery and uttering. It was believed that he served an eviction order dated 21st February 2018 to people living on portion 3683 of Granville at Garahu in Port Moresby, which the pastor denied ordering the eviction but stated that the church gave an eviction notice because the land belonged to the church.
Okay, the eviction notice was given to the settlers by the church because the church finally had the title, so it issued an eviction notice to the settlers to notice, not the eviction order of that nature, because we're dealing with people. So the church issued a notice telling them that now the land belongs to the church. So it gave a notice telling the settlers to make time for them to evacuate the land for the development and the purposes of the church in which it acquired the land.
Pastor Michael was also accused of producing a fake state list which bore the signature of the then Minister for Lands and Physical Planning, Justin Chichango, which the pastor claimed that the land title was issued to the church administration under the church name and he had nothing to do with it. Pastor Michael said during an interview with EMTV this morning that since the decision by the Committal Court to strike out his case on April 8, 2018 over allegations of fraud and uttering, it has tarnished and defamed his profession as a pastor.
Because it's hardly a document that I couldn't even step in to produce, or even I wouldn't have access or accessibility in producing that kind of a document. So, but after all, you face all of this when you are journeying through life, and you come across challenges, and so the good thing is you step up, let it become a platform.
Pastor Michael says he felt relieved when Justice Bergen dismissed his case last week, claiming it was a victory for the people of Papua New Guinea and his church members and congregation. He also urged law enforcement bodies to have hard, credible evidence before they make an arrest.
A word to the Minister for Police, and that is that I think our system needs a little bit of, it needs rectification in such that when a person is alleged, anybody on the street can file a complaint to the police if they have anything against you or grudges, or they can file a complaint to the police, and the police can, because they have the power, they can come and arrest you for mere allegations and so forth.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, an early heat wave spreading across Europe could potentially break records and turn deadly. Several countries are bracing for temperatures never seen before in the month of June.
The
European summer is only a few weeks old, but already temperatures are soaring.
I live in Zambia now, and I can say it's cooler in Zambia than it is in France.
We've been walking for about 30 minutes, and it was too hot, so we had to rest.
And in the days ahead, it's only going to get hotter. A high-pressure system over Central and Eastern Europe is drawing in very hot air from Africa, pushing up temperatures in Spain, France and Italy as the mass of extreme heat moves north towards Germany.
We're expecting an exceptional, even unprecedented heatwave for the month of June, meaning that we're going to reach temperatures over a period of 6 or 7 days that have never been observed for the month of June before.
Authorities in France are already drawing comparisons to the deadly 2003 heatwave, which claimed the lives of tens of thousands of people across the continent. The country's health minister is urging citizens to take necessary precautions over the coming days.
We give instructions to the various companies to adapt their schedules, their ways of working, in order to avoid public transport as much as possible. All companies that can telework should be encouraged, and all those who can adapt their opening and closing times should do so.
The scorching heat is affecting the FIFA Women's World Cup too, where the US team is preparing to take on the French team in Paris in the quarterfinals on Friday.
They may play a different style, maybe not press as high, maybe just figure out ways to adapt to the heat, but you'll see both teams doing that.
In Germany, residents are already doing what they can to cool down.
It's hot, but when you're in the water, it's nice and cool. So when you're in the water, a bit of both.
Forecasters there are predicting the same weather to peak on Wednesday or Thursday. The earlier and more intense heatwave conditions are yet another reminder, if it were needed, of what scientists say is a climate crisis.
Back home into Eastern Britain Province, the Warangoi Hydro Power Station is undergoing a major overhaul. The rehabilitation work is the first to happen in more than 10 years and is expected to take 12 months. The maintenance work comes following continuous electricity fluctuations in the province, prompted by deteriorating infrastructure at the hydro.
Visitors to this riverbank are walking on what was initially the bed of a reservoir. At the confluence of two rivers that form the Warangoi River, this is the site of the main Warangoi hydro water catchment area.
The contractors will do some maintenance work on the intake equipment and structure.
The river is diverted into this catchment area and funneled through a 7 kilometers tunnel to propel the turbines at the main power station. But over the years, debris and sediment have accumulated in the catchment area. The much needed volume of water needed to produce enough force to power the turbines has dropped substantially. Much of the space to cater for that volume has been taken up by silt, accumulated over nearly 2 decades.
The whole tunnel has been emptied. We are just in the process now of inspecting the tunnel, looking at how much damage is in the tunnel and what needs to be done. And likewise, they have started now to dismantle the turbines and generators.
Further down the river is the end of the 7 kilometers tunnel, which ferries enough body of water needed to move the turbines. Inside the control room, a major overhaul is also being carried out on the turbines. For PNG Power, the maintenance work has come to represent the increase in electricity demands in the province. Businesses are poised to take off in the province, and for that to happen, a more reliable supply of electricity will be needed.
And most of the gear will go. They will refurbish the gantry, and if they need to replace, the contractor will also replace them. And so then they will test and commission.
In its glory days, the facility produced up to 10 megawatts of electricity, but over the years the capacity has dropped due to no major repair work being carried out on this infrastructure. The major repair work is being supervised by Multiconsult, a Norwegian-based firm specialized in engineering and structural designs with funding support coming from the Asian Development Bank. Much of the work is expected to be completed in the next 12 months. PNG Power hopes to restore the hydro capacity back to its glory days, where it will produce 10 megawatts of electricity for the entire province. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Here with Wednesday's news, Trukai Sports is up next. The big story, EMTV prepares to bring it 2 weeks of competition from the Pacific Games in Samoa. We'll be back with the details after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. EMTV, the leading television station in Papua New Guinea, will be the official broadcaster of the Pacific Games in Samoa. PNG Sports Foundation is partnering with EMTV to ensure that Papua New Guineans can watch Team PNG participating in various sports during the Games.
There are 11 days to go to the 2019 Pacific Games in Apia, Samoa, and EMTV's broadcast team are packing equipment for their trip to Samoa. EMTV has been appointed the official Games broadcaster for Papua New Guinea, with acting CEO Sheena Hughes confirming that for 2 weeks from the 7th to the 20th of July, the country's #1 to watch TV station will broadcast feeds from Samoa with PNG-specific content for the nation.
What it means is that we not only will be bringing back the footage provided by the host broadcaster themselves, but we will also be bringing back a PNG-specific footage, which means that we'll be highlighting the PNG-specific games and bringing that back for the people of Papua New Guinea.
For our viewership around the country.
Papua New Guinea Sports Foundation CEO Peter Siamalili Jr. confirmed the partnership with EMTV amid it providing extensive coverage across the nation to its 4 million plus viewers.
We have partnered with EMTV because of its reach out in the community and also the continuous collaborative support that it gets from providing these footages to other state-owned entities such as NBC and the relationship that they have. So we'll be able to reach as many Papua New Guineans around the country.
The PNG-specific games.
He was thankful for the partnership with PNG Sports Foundation and other sponsors who will partner in this exclusive broadcast.
We're very grateful to be in partnership with the government through PNG Sports Foundation and also our supporting sponsors, which include PNG Power, Dataco, Premier and Colgate. So together we will be bringing you full coverage for 2 weeks and live and exclusive, and obviously PNG-specific coverage from the Pacific Games.
Siamalili adding that the partnership with EMTV is also to promote the foundation as the government's arm in sports in Papua New Guinea.
And at the same time too, it's forging a good relationship with one of our leading television companies. Through their subsidiary company, Amtech, are able to support us in promoting the foundation and the relationship that we have in terms of what we do as an organization within the spectrum of government in the country.
Fidelis Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
The U.S. Embassy in Port Moresby is sending 5 female athlete students from 5 secondary schools in NCD on a sports visitor program in the U.S. Sports visitors are youth athletes and influencers who travel to the U.S. for a short-term sports cultural exchange. It includes sessions on nutrition, gender equity in sport, sport and disability, and team building. The program shows young people how to success in athletics can translate into achievements in classroom and in life. The team departs from Port Moresby on Friday for their 10-day program, which runs from June the 29th to July the 13th and will be held in New Jersey and Philadelphia. Moving on, the PNG LNG Kumuls will make changes to the team come November when they take on the Fiji Bati for the second Oceania Cup match in Fiji. This time, players from England in the Super League and the Betfred Championship will also be considered.
Anthony Milford drills it in the touch.
The PNG LNG Kumuls 24-6 loss to Samoa has PNG looking forward to taking on Fiji in November for the second match of the Oceania Cup, hopefully this time for a win.
And there's the opening.
The performance was good by the Kumuls but not good enough for a win. But come November in Fiji, there will be changes to the team. Kumuls coach Michael Marum is adamant the Kumuls need the win against Fiji, but their main aim is the long run to build a strong team for the 2021 World Cup in England.
There'll be changes there, depending on availability, injuries, suspensions. Between now and November, there's still a long way there. So there'll be reviews on performance of all the players. So we're building towards the next World Cup. So, and again, next game is really important for us. Fiji had a good game against Lebanon. They put in a really good showdown there. They had all the experienced players played in that game. So I watched that. But now we want to make sure all our boys are healthy all throughout the season, and we pick them ready for Fiji game.
Only the Australian-based players and the SPPNG Hunters made it into the Kumuls team this time. But Marum says those in England in the Super League will be considered. Also the players in the Bedford Championship, where former Hunters players Watson Boas and the others are currently playing in.
There'll be options there. Super League players, we only have 2 players there. So, David Mead playing for the Catalan Dragons, and also Wellington Albert. Players outside of that, Watobo, Watson, Stargott, Willie, Minoga, Thompson, all those boys can be considered. So there's options there, depending on positions. If you need a halfback, then probably Watson can. If you need a fullback, then that's how we'll look at the selection. So, but yeah, we will invite everyone in. They're in that long list of the big squad we have. So there's options. A few of them can make the side again.
Fidelis Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
And don't go anywhere. Trukai Sports will continue with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To some sport abroad, and star netballer Maria Folau has assembled in camp with the New Zealand Silver Ferns World Cup squad with the inevitable questions about her support for husband Israel and his ongoing dispute. Today, it was up to the Ferns coach to front the issue.
On the court, Maria Folau is an asset to the Silver Ferns, but off it, she's becoming a distraction in their World Cup build-up.
It would be an issue that we will have to work through. That's because of our team culture and ensuring that we do support each other, but also ensuring that we keep our priorities.
While Nolene Torua's priority is preparing for this week's local netball series and next month's World Cup, instead she's having to defend her star shooter, who last week used social media to support her husband Israel's fundraising campaign for his legal battle with Rugby Australia over his homophobic comments.
Performance, there was no issue. Standards, there's no issue. Statistics, there's no issue, and she can do her job. So very comfortable, and I'm really happy that she is in the team, because for me she's a world beater.
But it's Folau's personal view some of Netball New Zealand's sponsors have a problem with. ANZ says it doesn't support any views or actions that are seen to support homophobia, while MYOB has clear policies supporting diversity in the workplace and expects their partners to share those values. Both have been in touch with Netball New Zealand. In a statement, Netball New Zealand says Folau hasn't breached its policy, but it does value inclusion in its sport. It's unlikely we'll hear from Folau herself. While the Ferns have 3 games this week, if it's anything like last year's Commonwealth Games, she'll be off limits until the controversy blows over. Instead, others will be left biting their tongues.
I have a lot of personal views, but my role here, I'm very clear about what that is, and that's to lead this team for the World.
The Silver Ferns had their first full team meeting this afternoon. All players were expected to be given a chance to express any issues or concerns.
And then in Trukai Sports for this evening, we go for a break, and when we come back, a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
A quick look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours, and in the New Guinea Islands region, rain and showers expected in Lorengau and Kavieng, a shower or two expected in Kokopo and Rabaul, a few showers for Kimbe, and cloudy weather over the next 24 hours and some showers expected in Buka.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday, the 26th of June 2019. On behalf of the EMTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.